What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode on the Life is Huncho YouTube channel. It's your host, the one and only Hugh Huncho, on the mic today. And as you guys can see by the title, we are going to be talking about what defines or what makes a good man in 2025, right? This was a topic that I wanted to talk about, or I wanted to touch on, especially following up the last video that we had about how to find a good woman. I feel a lot of brothers out there don't really know what it means to be a quote unquote good man, right? I'm not talking about a nice guy. I'm talking about a good man, a man who stands up for his beliefs, a man who, protects his family and protects his community, a man who guides the individuals around them, right, to a better place, right? That's the kind of person that I'm talking about. If you hear these things and you, in a sense, feel as though you don't match that description, or you maybe have a friend or a boyfriend, right, that you feel as though, might not be meeting the standard of what we considered a good man, definitely send them this video. If you are that person, right, listen clearly to the stuff that I'm going to be telling you in this video, because it's going to help you. Right? Because before we can talk about what makes a good man, we have to define what is a man, right? What is a man? In the traditional sense, a lot of time when we think about a man, the two words that are thrown around is a protector and a provider, right? But what do those things mean, right? We have to define what does a protector and a provider means. For me, I have a different perspective on what we call a provider. When you hear a provider, you automatically think of money. You automatically think he has money, he has resources. And to some extent, a lot of men who are providers just so happen to have money, and they're able to get access to resources and things like that. That makes them a provider. But how many men do we know have money, but they're not good to their kids, or they don't take care of their kids, right? They have money, but they spit at money. They throw it around. They flaunt it as if it's nothing. They throw it at women. They use it to manipulate people, right? Manipulate friends, colleagues, women. They're not generous, right, at all. Or they expect something in return for the overabundance of money that they have, right? I've learned that a man can make money, but money does not define a man. I'm telling you that right now. And if that was the case, we have a plethora of men that have quote unquote money, are well established, or have plenty enough than what they need for themselves. But people aren't happy, right? People aren't in good financial situations. We are in a fucked up economy of in itself that are ruled by a lot of these men that have money. So money cannot be the defining factor of what a man is or what a provider is. If money is what defines a provider, then I think that's a very shallow definition of a man. And I would like to say us as men, we're more deeper than that, right? We have more to give to the world and society than just money. So we have to change our perspective on that, right? A provider, literally in the sense, is a person who's able to give you something, who's able to bring something, right? Who's able to acquire things and then hand it out or give it, able to literally provide, right? So when you're thinking about a provider, you need to shift your perspective on someone who just has money, because people can provide in other ways that aren't monetary. Someone can be very strong, and their strength, right, is what provides protection and security for you when you go out, right? Someone can be very smart and intelligent. They're good at making decisions and problem solving and finding a solution. They're able to fix your credit for you, right? Or teach you how to fix your credit. They're able to teach you how to invest, how to make money, how to save money, right? There's plenty of ways of providing. I truly believe that a provider is someone who's able to provide you solution. They're useful, they're resourceful. A person does not need to have a lot of money to be a good provider. If someone is able to figure out for you to pay your bills, right, how to make more money, how to budget, right, all these things, those are things that are not only more valuable, but things that are going to stay with you and last with you throughout life, beyond than him just giving you $10,000 just because. So I know this message is for the guys, but I want women to listen to it as well, that you guys are looking for the wrong type of thing and the wrong type of person. If you want love, you need to find it in a person who thinks beyond just the superficial surface level things of a fucking dollar bill, right? So those things, far as intellect, far as courage, far as emotional stability, right? As far as someone being able to give you peace to your life, give you humor to your day and make you laugh. These are all things that a man provides and makes life better being around him, right? That's why us as guys, we flock to other good and like-minded men, because we know what it's like to be around a great brother, bro. Like, we know what it's like to be around somebody who's fucking hilarious, right? Someone who's always down to do stuff. You see what I'm saying? Someone who is reliable. Like, I know if I call him, he's gonna pick me up from the airport, right? It's good having a brother like that. So in the same sense, it's good to be that kind of brother, to be that kind of person, right? And when you're being that kind of person, you're providing a peaceful atmosphere, an atmosphere of security. So that's how you can provide as a man, not just monetary wise. So if you are a man and you don't have money to you, right? If you don't have money, you better start going to the gym. If you can't go to the gym, whatever, you better start reading some books, right? You better start becoming someone that is interesting to think about. Be the type of person that you would want to look up to. That's always a really great perspective on how do I become a better person? Well, what is the type of person that I admire? This person. Take those attributes and try and work towards those things. We've seen in plenty stories and fairy tales and movies, the guy, he doesn't have a lot of nothing, right? But he's still able to save the day. He's still able to get the girl. He's still able to be the big brother. He didn't have money, but he stood up for the young kid when he was getting bullied. Things like that. So for us to not become terrible human beings that destroy the fucking ground and earth that we're on, right? We have to expand our mind on what we believe a provider is, or the definition behind it, right? Because if it only comes down to money, bro, it's going to be a very sad and boring world. I'm telling you that right now. Right? So you have to think about those things, women. You have to think about those things, men, right? Like, hey, it's not just about chasing money. What kind of person do I want to be when I get that money, right? Do I want to just be another scumbag like all these other people that are creating these terrible policies and rules, right? That is ruining what it means to just live as a human being, what it means to live in society. No, I want to be a person that I can make somebody laugh. I can hold a great conversation, and I got the bag, right? Like, we're not going to forget about the bag. But you don't want to only get the bag and then the bag is what you're defined as, right? Think about it. Do you want to be with someone who only sees you for the bag? Not saying, right, at the end of the day, gold diggers, they have a profession, right? It's being the gold digger to someone who's probably a scumbag who would only attract a woman because of the fact that he has money. You see what I'm saying? So if he didn't have no money, he probably wouldn't be with anybody else. So he has to pay for a woman to be around him, right? You don't want to be like that, bro, right? You don't want to be like that. You don't want women to be around you just because they know they could get something out of you, right? And the reason why is because I don't care what you say, it's shallow, right? It's meaningless. And at the end of the day, they don't like you for who you are as a human being. And you want to become somebody who has more dimensions to themselves than just money. So you have to expand what you think is a provider. So we want to do it the right way. We want to build wealth and keep our souls at the same time. And then we go into the next thing, what we hear about when we hear about a man, a protector. What does that mean? So what a protector is someone who knows good from bad, knows a good deal, knows a bad deal, knows when to be defensive, right, and to stay back and protect, but then also knows when to be offensive, right, to be the person to initiate, the person to attack, right? A protector is someone who stands up for themselves, right, who knows when to stand up to injustice or when something's just bad in general, right? If you're a person who doesn't know how to stand up for themselves, right, then you're not a protector. You're a person who needs protecting from whoever or whatever. And that can be anything. That could be you standing up for yourself in a relationship, you standing up for yourself in the workplace, right? You standing for your beliefs and what you believe in. So you got to be able to stand up strong and straight and speak with confidence and know when to say no, because saying no is part of being a protector. Knowing when to repel, knowing when to reject bad things and negative things from coming into your life so they don't disturb your peace or disturb your relationship or disturb your family unit. That's what a protector is. Someone who knows how to maintain peace and prosperity, right? So to be a protector and to establish peace and prosperity, that means you have to be able to guide and lead people, right? That means you have to know the dangerous side of things, right? And how to avoid danger and be diligent, right? Not negligent, but be diligent and be able to tell someone something, even if they don't understand why it's important, and be able to stand your ground on that. And the reason why is because, let's say, for an example, right, if you're not a protector, let's say you're a father, let's say you're a parent, right? It's Father's Day. Let's say you're a parent and your child is riding their bike without a helmet. You're negligent. You don't try and protect them. You don't tell them to wear the helmet, right? Regardless of how they feel. They ride the bike, a rock in the road, they fall off the bike, they scrape their head. And now they're living with a scar, or maybe worse, for the rest of their life. Just because you were being negligent, just because you weren't being your role as a protector, right? We're not going to get all religious or whatever, but in the Bible, the whole moment between Adam and Eve and the snake and the apple, that was a moment where Adam was supposed to be there to protect Eve from those bad things, right? We're going to have that conversation in a whole nother video, but that is a role as a man, is to know bad from good and know the dangerous things in the world that we live in, right? And be able to make a smart decision. A man has to be confident and competent, meaning reliable. And that's what makes him a protector. Now, of course, you're not going to wake up one day and straight out the room be this macho protector man, right? That's not going to just happen, right? Everything that is strong at one point was weak, and it becomes strong over time. That's how you have to be. You have to be a moldable person, right? A person who can grow. You want to be able to protect your wife from being harassed. So you have to be able to have a conversation and be confident and let her know, like, hey, I'm not going out with you right now. Make sure you wear something that's good and respectable. You enjoy yourself, you have fun, and holler at me at the end of your night. Make sure everything's good. If something goes bad, check in with me, right? You have to have confidence and reassurance in yourself, because that's what makes you a reliable protector. Overprotection can be almost just as bad as having no protection, right? Because now people are scared of everything around them, right? You have to be able to be wise and know when to turn it on and off. So when we talk about protector and a provider, those are things that we need to really establish on what defines a protector and a provider. Because I think nowadays we're so worried about the provide part without the protection part. When someone almost stands up for themselves and stands up for their standards or what they think is good, they almost call it misogynistic or controlling. No, he's trying to literally protect you. He's literally trying to do what his job entails, is protecting, right? Like if I'm a manager, my job is to protect my assets. It's to protect my employees. If somebody breaks into the building, right, and I just run underneath a desk where I don't say nothing, I'm slacking my position as a manager. I'm probably going to get fired, right? Or something's going to happen to the employee. So you have to be okay with embodying that role that you have as a protector and a provider. The third thing another man should be, right, and we're going to be kind of wrapping up for this part. We're probably gonna need to have a part 2 in this, because this video is actually getting longer than I expected. But a man has to be free and has to fully love himself as a man and accept that he is a man. That's what makes you a good man. When you don't accept that you're a man and you live in a world of, oh, I'm still a young man, or I'm still a boy, or I still want to be free, or I still want to have fun, I still want to chill, you're not a man, you're a boy. You're running away from responsibility. Responsibility, literally in the word, is the ability to respond. That's what makes you mature. That's what makes you dependable. That's what makes you reliable. That's what makes you a good friend. That's what makes you a good partner. That's what makes you a good man. Someone who's free in himself, that he's able to fully love himself for who he is. Freeing himself, that he's able to understand what his weaknesses are, what his strengths are, be okay with that, accept that, and then put in the work to become better, right? Only little boys run away from the trials and tribulations of life. Life is a taskmaster. It's a cruel taskmaster. So either you master it or life will master you. And there's nothing you can do about that. The only thing that will happen is that one day you'll just be one of these people out on the street with all the regrets in the world saying, I could have, I would have, I should have. But if you embody and you have that acceptance now, then you're able to become happy with it. You're able to understand, hey, listen, if I accept this, now I have control over it. And now I'm playing the game on my terms, by my rules. Now I can work towards those goals where now I can have a nice job that I genuinely enjoy going to work, talking and shooting this shit with my coworkers. I'm making good enough money where I can still enjoy myself, have fun, and go out on dates, go out on trips and do things, right? That's what makes life fulfilling. Not just chilling in the crib, smoking and drinking all day, playing the game, or just, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? Or just being with a bunch of bitches all day. You feel me? Like, it's cool for a little bit, but it gets boring after a period of extended time. It gets boring. Trust me, it gets boring. You want your life to have more meaning than that. As a man, the only way that you can do those two things is by truly loving yourself and accepting who you are and why you came into this world as you are, right? Like, we have to understand that, hey, like, it's dope to be a guy. It's dope that I wake up and I could be my masculine, aggressive self. It's dope that I have logical thinking and I'm able to think things through. It's dope that I'm able to control my emotions. And whenever someone pisses me off, because I know how to control my emotions so well, when I tell them that they're being a dumbass, now they really understand and they listen because they're like, damn, this person is always calm. But now he's really telling me about myself. I must have really crossed the line. You see what I'm saying? That's a different level of respect. That's a different level of, like, consideration, admiration, whatever it is, compared to someone who's all over the place. They're always emotional. They're always getting super upset. Now, if you say something to somebody like, oh, you pissed me off, they're like, well, you always say that. Why should I listen to you now? You see what I'm saying? You want to have a good balance when it comes to being a man, on being aggressive and assertive, but also knowing when to be calm and relax and be calm under pressure. Those are very important things. And those are things that we're going to be talking about more in part 2 of this video, right? Go ahead and click here to check out my last recent upload. It's a banger, another fire episode. You don't want to miss it, right? And that's going to wrap up this episode. Stay tuned for part 2 on how to become a good man in 2025. And with that being said, I'm your host, Hugh Huncho, and I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next video.